Hey guys, it's Miss Schaefer again, and we are going to be talking about prokaryotic versus eukaryotic cells. So while you're going through this lesson, draw or print out from Schoology a Venn diagram and label it like this. So the one on Schoology, I believe, has the labels already, but if you don't have a printer or you just don't feel like printing it, just get a blank piece of paper and draw this Venn diagram with the titles. We're going to fill it out as we go. So let's review what we've learned so far about cells. There are two major types of cells. There's prokaryotic cells, which is mostly bacteria, and eukaryotic cells, plant, fungi, animals, and humans. So we're going to add this information to our Venn diagram. So under prokaryotic cell, you're going to write bacteria, and I drew like pictures of what bacteria kind of look like. If you want to like Google little pictures, I mean mine are not that detailed, but they're just like these little microscopic spirally things or dots or kind of these rods, and there's tons of others. For eukaryotic cells, I drew a flower with like a little bug on it, if you can see that. So, and I put, the plants, insects, people, and animals. So the similarities, both prokaryotes and eukaryotes have DNA. Both have a cell membrane, which is a layer of lipid fat that's surrounding it to protect it from the outside environment and control what comes in and out of the cell. And both have similar things in them like cytoplasm and ribosomes, carbohydrates, proteins, nucleic acids, minerals, fats, and vitamins. So we are going to add that to where it says both on our Venn diagram. So under both, you're going to write DNA, cell membrane, cytoplasm, and ribosomes. So let's talk about some of the differences. Prokaryotes are simple and smaller than eukaryotes. And these are old, okay? Scientists think that they have been around for 3.5 billion years. Very, very old. And they're simple and small. They were some of the first things that were ever alive on our planet were these prokaryotes. Eukaryotes are complex and about 10 times bigger than prokaryotes, and they're younger. Scientists say that eukaryotes have only been around for 1.5 billion years. Still a lot of years, but they're not as old as prokaryotes. So let's add this information to the Venn diagram. So that is in red, so you're writing simple, smaller, old, 3.5 billion years for prokaryotic cells. For eukaryotic cells, you're writing younger, 1.5 billion years. They're complex, and they're bigger, about 10 times bigger. So, some more differences. Prokaryotic cells have no nucleus, and they have no membrane-bound organelles. So in the prokaryotes, you'll see the DNA is just kind of hanging out here in the middle. It's not protected like eukaryotic cells. They have a nucleus, and in the nucleus, you'll find the DNA, and it's protected in the nucleus. Eukaryotic cells also have membrane-bound organelles that have jobs, okay, like mitochondrion, and other lysosomes and things like that you're going to learn more about next year. But they have these organelles that have functions. So these are more complex, and these are simple, and so that DNA has no nucleus to protect it. So we're going to add that to our Venn diagram. So under prokaryotic cell, you're writing no nucleus, no membrane-bound organelles. For eukaryotic, you're writing has a nucleus, has membrane-bound organelles. Now, the role of the nucleus. To contain the genetic information necessary for the cell to survive, this genetic information is DNA. So eukaryotes have separated this information from the rest of the cell with a special membrane-bound organelle called a nucleus. Eukaryote means having a true nucleus. And so when you see a EU, right, and that means U is another word for true, so true nucleus. Prokaryotes do not have this nucleus, and their genetic material is not separated from the rest of the cell. So prokaryotes means before a nucleus. So when we look back at this picture, that's why I was saying here the DNA is just kind of hanging out here without protection. Unlike here, the DNA is protected in this kind of like a little shell in a way of a nucleus. So let's remember that U is true, pro means no, okay? So let's add this information to your Venn diagram. So prokaryotic means before nucleus, eukaryotic means having a true nucleus. Now, I want you to use these pictures here that are given to you to draw examples on your Venn diagram. I would like you to use map pencils just so it pops and try to label things, okay? So your prokaryotic cell would look something like this. So it's simpler, it has the DNA kind of wound up in the middle without protection, and it doesn't have any organelles. The eukaryotic has a nucleus, and inside here is where the DNA is stored. It's protected a little bit better. And there's organelles in a eukaryotic cell. So take a few minutes, draw a picture, and I think that will complete our Venn diagram. You're going to want to hold on to this. You're going to take a mastery check, and you can use this to help you. And you're going to want to keep it just for the next, couple of weeks as we talk about cells and we refer back to it. And then on the next slide, you can click on this link that kind of sums everything up. I would play it here, but the sounds doesn't show up. So please go back to the lesson and click on that link.